Hey guys, what's going on? InsidiousSwede back again here for another YouTube video, and welcome to my top 10 favorite mangaka or favorite manga author YouTube video. Now, I'm into my fourth year now on this channel, and I have never made this video, which is kind of surprising because I've wanted to do it for a long time now, but the time never felt right. But it's been something that I've wanted to do for the past month or so. So here it is, guys, my favorite authors of all time. Before getting into those, though, I first wanted to show off three honorable mentions, and I feel like these guys deserve to be mentioned before getting into my top 10. So the first one is Kengo Hanazawa, of course, the man behind one of the best manga series I've read this year, I Am a Hero. And the reason why I didn't include Hanazawa on my list is because I've only read these first two omnibuses, and I feel like that's not really enough material to justify putting somebody on my top 10 list. So that's the first one I wanted to talk about. The second one might be a bit surprising considering my last video with the first impressions of Inuyashiki, but the second honorable mention is Hiroya Oku, of course, the man behind Gantz and Inuyashiki. And after making that video, I actually went back and kind of skimmed through some of Gantz, and I have to be honest and clarify something from that video. I really think the first 20 volumes of Gantz, basically the first two arcs, are exceptional. However, after that, again, it still goes downhill for me, but still a very talented manga author, and Inuyashiki has been incredible in my opinion. It's been an amazing start to his series. Now, I haven't read all 5 volumes that are currently out, but so far it's been a really good series, so I did want to give Hiroya Oku a quick honorable mention. I'm not entirely sure where he'd rank if I were to do, a top 20 manga authors of all time video, but he's definitely worth mentioning in this video, I believe. And then the final person I wanted to mention, for the pure fact that I know a lot of you have him at your #1 spot, and that is Nao Asano. Now, I feel ashamed by this, but I have never read Nao Asano, anything he's done, whether it be Goodnight Pun Pun, Solanin, What a Wonderful World, all 3 series which I own, by the way. I don't know what's wrong. I just really never have found that moment where I go, now is the time to read something from Asano. I know they're going to be emotional, and I really want to be in the right, state of mind before getting into one of his series. I feel the same way with other people like Takehiko Ito, or, people of that high-class caliber. So I did want to give Nao Asano a quick mention, but again, he will not be on the list because obviously I can't rank somebody that I haven't read anything from. But again, so I already saw the comments coming in if I didn't do this, so I'm glad that I did. But yeah, guys, again, Nao Asano, a mangaka that I want to get to soon. I'm actually eyeing Winter Break for at least one of his series for me. But now with those 3 out of the way, let's get into the top 10. Alright, starting off at number 10, we have my favorite slice of life mangaka, and that is Satsuki Yoshino, of course, the woman behind my personal favorite slice of life series, Barakeman, of course. Now, this is the only work I have read from her. I'm not entirely sure how many other series she's done. I know there's a couple out there that I have my eye on, but Barakeman, when I first read it, such a breath of fresh air from all the other series that I read, because I'm mainly a person who enjoys, seinen manga and stuff like that. So when I first read Barakeman, I didn't really know what to think about it. The first volume was okay, but later on, and so far, I have actually up to this 9th volume here, which I need to get more actually, but not only the progression of her writing, but the progression of her artwork, which also really aids the story. But every chapter of this series is refreshing and new. Everything feels, just so pleasant to read. And then also, even if you didn't know any of these characters, which are also a very big highlight of this manga, I love the characters in this series, but regardless of that, you could just pick up this book, pop open any chapter, and enjoy it, because every chapter kind of has its own message, its own story behind it, and that's what I love about this series. But yeah, definitely Satsuki Yoshino, one of my personal favorite mangakas out there, and number 10 on my list. Alright, coming in at number 9. Now this person I was originally going to leave off of the list because of the reasons I'll give in a second, but I decided to include them because of how much I love their stories, and that is Yoshihiro Togashi, Hunter x Hunter here, and then also, of course, Yu Yu Hakusho being his two most notable series. Now, the reason why I was going to leave him off is because I have only read about 9 or 10 volumes of Hunter x Hunter, and I have not read Yu Yu Hakusho yet. I started both of the animes. Hunter x Hunter, the anime, easily in my top 3, and then Yu Yu Hakusho definitely around that top 10 spot for me. Both fantastic series, and I love them because of the story, the core story that they got from Togashi's series, which both are very... they followed the manga very well. So because of how much I love the stories in the anime, I had to put Togashi on my list. But the thing is that I just can't get past his artwork. It really lowers the series, you know, all of these black backgrounds, and it only gets worse as you go in further. And every, you know, these panels that just don't really feel finished. Although volume 1 here is a lot better than most, but you know, later on you're basically getting that as the final product, which just isn't good enough in my opinion. I understand all the health issues. I'm not saying that, you know, he should be doing better. It's just how it is, and that's, you know, what we're given. And because of that, I can't put Togashi higher, but I still think he's one of the greatest mangaka, you know, storytellers out there. I love his characters. Hakusho, Yu Yu Hakusho, another amazing story. This is actually a manga that I plan to read very soon, now that I'm finishing up the anime. But yeah, I had to put Togashi on the list, but I couldn't justify putting him any higher than at number 9. Alright, coming in at number 8, we have One, of course, the pen name or pseudonym. I don't think anybody knows their real name, his, her. I'm not entirely sure who they are, but One, of course, the person behind One Punch Man, the greatest satire slash comedy slash parody manga of all time. Such an amazing series here. And yeah, I think that, you know, whenever people talk about this manga, myself included, we always, you know, reference the artwork because it is, you know, some of the best out there. Really incredible stuff, but I think the story also does so much for the art as well. I think that the way that One is able to, you know, the dialogue that characters share really feels natural. It really, you know, works for the series. You know, it's never taken too seriously, but it's still considered to be really good, which I think is a very, you know, hard skill to acquire. And overall, it's just an amazing series. And it's funny because I really did not like the first couple chapters of One Punch Man. Turned me off from this series for months and months and months until finally I caved in to, you know, see why it was so popular. I got into about, you know, chapter 10 or so, and then I obviously fell in love with the series. But One, a very good talent. I'd love to see some other series from them. I don't know if there's more manga out there by them or not, but whatever he does, she does, I would love to see more from them. But yeah, One Punch Man, a great manga by itself, which is why I had to have, you know, him on there. Alright, coming in at number 7, a big one for me, that is, of course, Akira Toriyama with one of the greatest series of all time, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z. Then I even have Jaco, the Galactic Patrolman, of course, the one-volume series here came out about a year or two ago. But what to say about Dragon Ball and Akira Toriyama? It's such a influential series. It's a series that when I originally read it a couple years ago, I was extremely high on it. You know, coming off that video, I think I played Dragon Ball as my favorite series of all time. Now that I'm a couple years removed and a little bit wiser, I realize the flaws because his writing isn't perfect, his storytelling isn't perfect, but I still think it's better than 99% of the people out there. I still think that his characters are some of the most likable, and the thing that I love most about him is the ability to find ways to make Goku and company stronger, because I remember when I first read Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, I just was imagining in the back of my head, how is he going to find a way to make these guys more powerful? And you know, the way that he did it worked so well. I mean, in a way it felt cheesy because it's like, well, okay, you're just now making shit up. But at the same time, it still felt like it worked, it fit within the universe, and just the way that he went about, you know, everything that he did worked so well. And that's why I think Dragon Ball Z is still one of the greatest series of all time. It's aged extremely well because of that, and definitely needed to have Akira Toriyama on this list. So at number 7, I do have him. And I probably could have put him a bit higher, but I think that's a good spot for him considering the other ones that I put ahead. But at number 6, we have probably the most nostalgic writer on this list, because without him, I would have not ever gotten into manga. I wouldn't be making videos today, and I wouldn't have the collection that you see before you. That is Tsugumi Obe, of course, the writer behind Death Note, of course, then also Bakuman, and then more recently, Platinum End. Such an amazing writer, guys. I don't know how to describe my love for Tsugumi Obe. Honestly, again, another writer I could have put a bit higher, but I decided to keep him here because, you know, he's not perfect. He's very good. I think his ability to create villains is his strength, which is why I feel like some moments of Bakuman were a bit weak, because the villains in there didn't really have that dark side, or at least the people who were competing against our main characters didn't really feel evil. They just kind of seemed like, you know, friendly rivals, which is what, you know, the purpose of that series. But his strength lies in characters like Light Yagami, and our main character, I'm forgetting his name now, in Platinum End, characters that have that tinge of darkness to them. That's where his strength lies, and that's why I love Death Note so much. I mean, I've read it 4 times, I've seen the anime twice, it's just so amazing, and because of that, I really had to have him on this list here at number 6. But again, somebody I have so much respect and nostalgia for, so at number 6, Tsugumi Obe. Alright, coming in at number 5, this one is going to be interesting for a lot of you. I'm sure most of you don't know who he is, but at number 5 we have George Morikawa. I'm sure none of you know who that is, maybe a handful. But George Morikawa is the man behind my favorite sports manga of all time, Hajime no Ippo. Now, I've said this quite a few times on my channel, I am a die-hard sports fan. If there's a score in a team or person competing, I'm watching it, basically. I mean, except for, you know, golf. But, you know, going into Hajime no Ippo, I didn't know what to expect. I put it off for a while because, of course, the length of the series. But it's funny because when I got into it originally, it was about 1,000 chapters. Now it's around 1,100. And I remember saying to myself, there's no way I'm going to read this entire series. But after reading more than 600 chapters, all I could say was, I wish it was longer. I wish it was longer, because it's that good. You know, Ippo, Makunoichi Ippo is by far one of the greatest protagonists in any series. The boxing world that Morikawa has created here is phenomenal, and the characters and the backstories and just all of it. It's so well done, so masterfully crafted, and I just think that he doesn't get enough recognition because of the fact he's only done this one series. And although I never want to see Ippo end, I think it'd be great to see what else Morikawa can do, because he's not only a very talented artist, but he's also one of the best writers out there, in my opinion. So at number 5, we have George Morikawa. Alright, coming in at number 4, and this is funny because I originally had this person behind number 5, George Morikawa, but at the last second I said I can't do it, I can't put him ahead. But at number 4 we have Kintaro Mira, which is also somebody I can see some of you having at number 1, and I even have this one-volume, one-shot Giganto Maxia, which came out last year. This is actually a pretty good read, guys. If you're a fan of Kintaro Mira, a lot of the same, you know, style and, you know, theme behind it, very similar series. So if you haven't checked this out yet, guys, I'd recommend it if you're a Kintaro Mira fan. But of course, he is on this list because of that manga here, and I think you know, it's funny because there are very few manga that impact me emotionally. Berserk does it better than any other series. I could be having a great day, best day of my life, right? And then I decide to sit down and read a couple volumes of Berserk, and all of a sudden I'm feeling depressed and like, well, shit, this day sucks, because that's the kind of darkness that you can find in a series like Berserk. Just the pure and utter, you know, blackness, darkness. It's just, it's so dark. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, that it just completely changes your mood, and that ability to affect, you know, a mood or a day of somebody by something that you write is, you know, a seldom skill that you see in any industry, for whether it be manga, comics, or, you know, actual novels. So with that alone, Kintaro Mira deserves a spot on my list, and he happened to land at number 4 for me, but again, I can easily see him being at number 1 for a lot of you. So yeah, Kintaro Mira at number 4. Alright, now into the heavy hitters, my top 3 favorite mangaka authors of all time. The first one up is a big one, and I was honestly going to put this at number 1 for a second, then I kind of thought about it and said, you know what, because of the individual series that I like better, I'm going to have to put him lower, but in terms of quantity of quality series, this mangaka ranks number 1, and that is Naoki Osawa with Pluto, of course, 20th Century Boys, Master Keaton, and then the series I'm still currently reading, Monster. So, you know, the ability to write one good series is something you should be applauded for, but the ability to write, you know, 4, 5, 6, because this isn't all of his material out there. There's plenty of other series that we still haven't gotten in English that I've read and enjoyed, but yeah, guys, Billy Bat, of course. I really hope we get an English release for Billy Bat, but I don't know what to say, because Naoki Osawa is one of the special talents. I mean, he compares a lot in a lot of ways to Osamu Tezuka, but I think the best quality that I can find in Naoki Osawa is the amount of characters in his series. In every single story that I've read from him, there are so many characters that matter. You know, every little character you need to remember, because, you know, 5, 10 volumes down the line, they could be influencing the entire series, which is very interesting. I mean, sometimes, I'll admit, sometimes it could get a bit annoying because you kind of forget who somebody is. They come back, change the story, and then you go, wait a second, let me go back and reread some stuff because I don't remember why this guy was important or whatever, which can be seen as a negative, but I think it's a talent that, again, is very rare, and Monster being one of the greatest series I've read, again, not even halfway through it. Pluto, one of the best mangas I've read, and then obviously 20th Century Boys, Master Keaton, also extremely good. So at number 3, I have Naoki Osawa. Alright guys, down to number 2. So coming in second place for me, and this was hard, is Takehiko Ito, of course. Slam Dunk being my second favorite now sports manga of all time. A series like Real, which I think is one of the most underrated manga series out there. Another basketball series, and then of course his most notable work being Vagabonds. But you know, how to talk about Takehiko Ito? You know, I think in order to describe his ability to write, we have to talk about his art, because, you know, artwork can tell so much. It can tell sometimes more than writing an expression or a feeling. And, you know, the ability to combine those two talents is what makes his writing so good. You know, Vagabond is, when I first read it, you know, I didn't even know how to appreciate it because I was so early into my manga reading career, but nowadays it's just a masterpiece, and there's nothing else, you know, about it. It's just the best out there for many, and for me it's a series that I have a hard time not placing at number 1 for the sole reason that I haven't finished reading it yet. I stopped reading it because I was hoping that it'd finish up. I'm feeling now that's more and more unlikely, though I'm holding out hope for a conclusion to Vagabond, which I know there's been some talk of it, but I will have to see about all of that. But guys, Takehiko Ito, I don't need to say anything about him because you guys already know and appreciate his greatness, but I had to put him at number 2, which it was hard, but again, there is one man better. And so, coming at no surprise for longtime fans, my favorite mangaka of all time is Makoto Yukimura with 2 of my favorite series of all time, Planets, and then the greatest manga ever written, Vinland Saga. Okay, here we go. Makoto Yukimura, geez guys. You know, I tried to think about how I would talk about him before coming on, and now that I'm filming, I'm lost for words, because Thorfinn is such an amazing character, and I feel like amazing is an understatement. Again, the ability to make a character one way, right, at the beginning of a series, and then by the end, or at least by volume 7 or whatever we're on now, to completely change that character to, but not just simply, oh, well, now he's different, but to see the process of how that happens, through all the things that he goes through all of the characters that are introduced, coupled with, again, talking about artwork in terms of storytelling, the artwork to back up that story, to help interpret it in ways that writing can't, coming together, seamlessly. It's just the best I've ever seen. And I've read Vinland Saga, and I've read Berserk, I've read Vagabond, and I've read, Berserk, and I've read Monster, and I've read the best of the best, and I still feel that Vinland Saga is above all of them. And then Planets, a series that I just finished up not too long ago, a 2-volume, well, in English, a 2-volume series that blew me away, about outer space and a man fighting for his dream while also, wrestling with other opinions and feelings of emotions he never thought that he had. Just so well done, guys. Planets, if you haven't read it, you're missing out. And I'll admit, I'm a bit biased because I'm a huge fan of space. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. But, it just, and then the artwork, again, guys, the artwork is insane. It's real. It's insane. You feel like you're watching a movie while you're going through one of Makoto Yukimura's series. And, to a point, it's almost better art than Takehiko Ito, because when you're reading a series by Takehiko Ito, you feel like you're actually reading a piece of art. Whereas when you're reading something from Makoto Yukimura, you feel like you're watching something unfold in front of you, and you're kind of taking it and basing it in reality. Where in Vagabond, it just feels so beautiful that it's almost it's fake in that sense, which is a video that I wanted to do down the road, but I feel like I'm answering that kind of question here now. The reason why I feel that Vinland Saga is better is because it feels more grounded, it feels more real. And for that reason, I had to put Makoto Yukimura at number 1, guys. And this video has dragged on way too long, I apologize, but, oh, sorry for bumping the camera. That is my top 10 favorite mangaka authors of all time. I plan to make the same video for artists down the road, though I don't imagine it's going to be too soon. But definitely stay tuned, guys. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I'm InsidiousSwede, and until next time, take care.